Fight!
Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. My name is Nick, and welcome to or welcome back to the channel. If you're new, raging demon that subscribe button to not only join the Whack Pack, but to get your feed of more fighting game rankings like these. As mentioned in the last video, with Street Fighter 6 on the horizon, I thought it'd be fun to take a look back at the previous Street Fighter titles with big cinematic supers and start ranking them, starting with Street Fighter 4. Though Mortal Kombat 9 revitalized the Mortal Kombat series and brought it back from the grave, Street Fighter 4 was responsible for the fighting game renaissance of the mid-2000s. After this came out, this is why we saw a revival of Mortal Kombat, Marvel vs. Capcom, Killer Instinct, and more. To celebrate its impact, its 15-year anniversary, and with the lead up to the highly anticipated Street Fighter 6, we're going to rank all of the supers from this game, specifically the Ultra Combos. In case you're new to all supers ranked, supers are going to be ranked based on how cool they are, the cinematic flow, and how well it fits to the character. I won't be factoring damage or the utility of the supers. I'll mainly be looking at the presentation, fit, and flow. Also, since many of these supers are in Japanese, I'll do my best to pronounce each of these, so my apologies in advance if some of these are a bit butchered. With the rules established, let's charge our ki and master the Saikyo arts as we're going to rank all 90, oh god, we're going to be here for some time, of the Street Fighter 4 Ultra Combos. To save time by not having me explain each of these, here are some utility supers, meaning that they just do a buff, will be placed at the bottom here. These are not cinematic at all and are over with extremely quickly. Starting off with Elena's healing super. Juri's Feng Shui engine install super. Lastly, Rose's Soul satellite utility super.
Let the spirits guide you.
Our first non-utility Ultra combo we're looking at is Dhalsim's Yoga Catastrophe. You'll notice early on in this list, many of these are basic fireballs and they're all just pretty meh. Usually what separates these come down to how they charge and the energy that's being thrown. Of the projectile ultras, Dhalsim's fiery spit takes the bottom spot for being unexciting and bland.
Catastrophe!
Following up at 86 is Blanka's Lightning Cannonball. It's really nothing special in terms of a super. He just rolls at you like a blue hedgehog minus moving at the speed of sound, and it's just pretty bland and it doesn't really look good at all. An extremely missed opportunity with this one here. Following Dhalsim for having one of the weakest projectile supers is Decapre's Psycho Stream. By using the Psycho energy and throwing it at the opponent, it just hits them like any basic super. Nothing special in the startup or anything that happens to the opponent. It's just pretty bland and it doesn't do a great job at standing out. At number 84, we've got Blanka's second Ultra, Shout of Earth. Now there are two variations of this super and both are pretty identical in terms of visual flair, but the differences come from one is an anti-air and the other is an anti-ground super. Though they both have different utilities, they both are very identical, so they'll just be lumped into one. Sadly, Blanka is already out this early, but we'll see how much his supers improve in the next two titles. Up next is probably one of my least favorite characters in this entire game in terms of their personality, Rufus. This one comes off more as a base super from this game, and I feel like it could have used some more camera angles to make it more visually interesting while the opponent is being struck with spins from Rufus like he was a bandicoot from Insanity Island. But the real reason it's this low is that Rufus is saying he's too sexy. Okay, jokes aside, if this just had different camera angles, then it could have been bumped up a few more spots.
Transform!
I'm sexy.
At 81, we've got the character who was made, according to Capcom design documents from Street Fighter II, for Americans to use, Guile. For a legacy character, Sonic Hurricane is pretty bland. The wind-up is pretty cool, but the damaging part is pretty short and it doesn't even look that cool. Sorry Guile, maybe Sonic Hurricane will get improved with Street Fighter V.
Sonic Hurricane!
At 80, we are looking at Rose's second Ultra combo already, Illusion Spark. This one is cool on paper, but not too exciting in practice. In concept, it sounds cool using her scarf to surge them with soul power, but in execution, the opponent just looks like they're shaking violently while being on a massage chair. I wish it just showed off more electrocution in it and then ending it with a blast or something like that. This is pretty disappointing, so sorry Rose and Rose fans.
Try this on for size. Illusion Spark!
We are looking at the first of two supers by SF4's main villain, Seth, the android replacement body for M. Bison. For how weird this character is, this first super is also just weird, but not in a good way. The only thing I really like about it is how Seth contorts their body before shooting the whirlwind at them. Yeah, it's kinda lame and it looks a lot like a level 1 super. Sorry Seth, this one just kinda blows.
Behold the glory that is the Tanden engine!
I hate to put one of my favorite Street Fighters this low, but at 78, we're going with Chun-Li's Kikosho. Sure, the startup looks cool, but it's just a ball of ki touching the opponent. If it were as flashy or as huge as the one from Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom, which is yet to be covered, then it could have jumped up a few more spots. Sorry Chun, this is more like a Kiko no show. Up next is the sumo wrestler himself, E Honda. The ultimate killer head ram is one of the unique ones for carrying the opponent across the stage, but the second half makes it come off more like a level 1 with the slaps. Maybe if you slapped them a bunch and did a giant slap flying them against the wall, then I think it'd be much cooler, but that's just me. Overall, it's a pretty okay super. Up next is the Mike Tyson-inspired boxer, Balrog. This one really showcases how Balrog is an up-close slugger, sending the opponent a flurry of punches to wreck the opponent. However, this really comes off as a repetitive level 1 with not a whole lot of variation to it. Maybe if there was just an up-close punch to the face to end it, then it could punch up a few more placements. Still pretty okay though. Time to cover a few projectile supers at once, starting with the Dark Lord of Muay Thai, Bob Sagat. Sagat. In comparison to the other Fireball supers we've seen, Tiger Cannon is a mid-tier one. He just charges up a fireball with some electricity and it flies at them. The startup looking pretty cool, but that's about it. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it, so moving on. The next Fireball super comes from the poster boy of Street Fighter, Ryu. Metso Hadouken has always been one of the staple supers in all of Street Fighter, and here, it looks okay. I do like the charge up with the facial expressions, the glow before throwing the Hadouken also looks cool. Pretty cool to look at and it just gets the job done. It's pretty efficient and effective. Looking ahead at another Hadouken, this being Sakura's Shinku Hadouken variation. Though it's extremely similar to Ryu's Metsu, the startup is slightly different and includes a bit more of a cheerful and an excited expression in comparison to Ryu's. A good super from Sakura. Up next is DJ, the Jamaican kickboxer and world-famous musician and recording artist. His super, Sobat Festival, isn't too cinematic, almost similar to Balrog's Violent Buffalo we just covered a moment ago, but this offers a nice mix of hits that make it stand out and make it look a little bit nicer. For that, it just kicks ahead a few more places. 71 with Rufus once again. Space Opera Symphony is better than his previous Big Bang Typhoon, as this one utilizes some fun camera angles and ends with a nice pose sending them skyward. Still not the best, but it could have been loads worse. And that's a wrap on Rufus. Goodbye, and I won't miss you.
Space Opera Symphony! Goodbye!
Let's take a look at Sea Viper with her first super move, Burst Time. Quite a flashy combo, sending them skyward with a strike of electricity and then flip kicking upward with fire kicks. It's over with pretty quickly, and I think it could have used one more kick to send them downwards, and it could have bumped it up a few more spots if it included that. Still a pretty okay super, just not too shocking or too hot if you ask me. Finally, looking at the main protagonist of Street Fighter 4, the French MMA fighter, Abel. To prevent becoming Bison's new host, he resisted with his Breathless Ultra combo, throwing them in the air to throw them against the wall. Quite a fun one to watch, but not one that'll really take your breath away. A pretty good super from the one-timer of the Street Fighter series. Let's go round 2 with Balrog by looking at his second Ultra combo. Though less flashy and has less hits, Dirty Bull really showcases Balrog's cheating tactics in the ring. Grabbing them, stepping on their foot, and then sucker punching their face, though short, is pretty visually cool to look at. Not too much else to say, it's just a fun one that packs a punch.
Over on ya! You ain't getting away! Yeah!
Yet another character who is already wrapping up is Guile. Flash Explosion is an alright super, highlighting his flip kicks he's well known for, hitting them with 2 of them, striking hard with a 3rd kick as they're falling down. A good place to start kicking in with some better Ultra combos. We'll see you once again in Street Fighter V, Guile.
Here we go! 1, 2, strike!
At 66, we'll be looking at the master of both Ryu and Ken, Gouken. As his theme was to teach his students the less violent version of the Assassination Fist fighting style, this showcases that pretty well. His version of the Shin Shoryuken is a more controlled version and it comes off as less violent, reminding me of MK1 Liu Kang with his cartwheel kick, focusing on defeating the opponent rather than killing them. Pretty alright, and it isn't too flashy, but one that's still pretty nice and a fun one to look at.
Got you!
Moving from calming and controlled to slicing and dicing the opponent with Vega's Bloody High Claw. It's pretty unique as it hits on the way up before the super actually is activated, and it's cool how he jumps up the walls and stabs and slashes on the way up, but I feel like it's missing something at the end. Maybe if it had a more impactful or final strike, or if he slashed downward, maybe it'd be a little bit cooler and land up a few more spots. Still a good one that cuts right in at 65.
Look in your own blood, bloody high claw!
Looking at the first of 4 Ultra combos with the Master Gen. Ryukoa is the cool anti-air where he locks the opponent's head in between his feet and creates a cyclone, throwing them up in the air. It's a pretty basic and fun one. Sadly, I do think it's the weakest of his 4 Ultra combos. Not too much else I can say, so let's just move on from there.
You can't escape,
Wrapping up the first villain of the Street Fighter series with Sagat. Tiger Destruction is a pretty neat super, starting with a charging knee, an uppercut, and then ending it with a fire-charged rising punch with a cool low-angle shot. In comparison to other rising punch supers, I'd say this is one of the weaker ones, but I still think it's pretty alright. You had an alright run, Sagat. I can't wait to cover you once again in Street Fighter V. We are also wrapping up the main protagonist of Street Fighter 4, Abel, with his second Ultra combo, Soulless. This really reminds me of Ryo's ultimate combo from King of Fighters with a quick flurry of hits and then ending it with definitely not Final Justice from Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Not much of a soulless Ultra, but it's not amazing. Still a great one and a good one for Abel to go out on. And speaking of King of Fighters and SNK, we're going to be looking at the parody fighter and joke character of Street Fighter, Dan Hibiki. For how intentionally pathetic this character is, Hao Godoken showcases that well with a small fireball sending Dan backwards as a result, which is why I also like this one quite a ton. It stands out from the other projectile supers, and it's just quite funny to watch. It fits the character very well. Looking at another projectile super with Goken's Denjin Hadouken. What makes this one cool, in comparison to the other ones we've seen so far, is that the opponent gets electrocuted showing their skeletal system, which a little pet peeve of mine should actually be the nervous system that should be shown. Afterward, sending the opponent flying and then bouncing off the wall of the stage. Pretty unique, and it stands out against many projectile supers in this game. A shocking way to go, Goken.
Here I come! Denji!
Wrapping up another legacy character with E Honda's Orochi Breaker. Throwing the opponent on the ground and then treating them like a Goomba is quick, right to the point, and it stands out. I also love the little sayonara sucker he says there once he's done sitting on you. There are possible hints of this being reimagined in Street Fighter 6 as his critical art, so I'll have to wait until the game releases to see that, and guaranteed you're gonna get a ranking of that one as well too. Overall, enjoy your time in the spa, Honda, and we'll see you in the next episode. Our next final fighter to enter is Poison. It only took until this game to include something that'll make Johnny Cage give you the thumbs up, which is a solid kick to the crotch after having some strikes to their face. The slow-mo shots and the angle really sells how painful this is, despite how it's really over quickly. But still, it's quite a memorable one that gets a little nuts.
Had enough yet.
At 57, we're finally looking at my favorite Street Fighter character, Ken Masters. His super, Guren Senpuyaku, I hope I pronounced that right, kicks a lot of ass, and quite literally, hitting them with a flurry of fiery kicks to cross up and then hit them in the face to cap it off is pretty nice. I don't have too much else to say, it's just a good one, and, not to be too redundant, kicks ass. Time to look at another projectile super with the bad version of our poster boy, Evil Ryu. Succumb to the evil of the Satsui no Hado, he's able to perform the Metsu Hadouken, a ball of energy with more flair and more evil. The startup and hitting animations look better than many of the previous ones we've covered, which helps it stand out quite a ton. Way to kill it, Evil Ryu. Looking at Vega once again with Splendid Claw. For how quick this is, it's extremely effective. 3 deadly strikes, with one being an overhead slash with rose petals flowing along with that screech at the end is just so cool. Way to cut in with another nice one, Vega.
Ready! What an ugly rose.
We are now looking at the Andre the Giant inspired grappler, Hugo. This one is just a super fun body slam, grabbing the opponent while they're jumping, flying upwards to throw them into the ground as he belly flops on top of them, just looks really cool. Now my only gripe with this one is that the sound on the impact could have been a little bit stronger, but one with great flow and it just looks nice.
Get you! Crush you! Unimpressive.
Up next is the lucha wrestler with a huge neck for cooking, El Fuerte. His first one, Ultra Spark, shows off a fun take on grappling the opponent's head with his legs to then make a human helicopter and sending them skyward. ending it by taking notes from Sonya Blade and then giving the opponent a break to have them fall back down to the ground. A pretty cool startup and midpoint, but the ending honestly is a little alright, but it's still extremely fun to watch overall. Hey, it's been a while since we've looked at Elena. Now it's time to look at her second super, Brave Dance. Showing her capoeira fighting style in a quick manner, flipping and landing a bunch of kicks and then sending them into the air as she flies along with them, ending with a really nice handstand pose. It's extremely cute and also quite brutal if you think about it. What a good way to end your run, Elena. Taking a look at Jamie Lee Curtis's favorite Street Fighter, Cammy. This secret agent has quite a cool startup and flowing with a nice portion taking it to the air, low kicking them into the sky, and then catching them slamming their head first into the ground is quite brutal and memorable. All of this flows extremely well, utilizes a lot of Cammy's traits and abilities, and it's just downright awesome. It's a great super move if you ask me.
Lock on! Gyro drive! Smasher! Finish!
Wrapping up Hugo the Giant with his second Ultra, Gigas Drive. This one really highlights Hugo's wrestler side, performing plenty of wrestling moves and holds to then end it with his signature body slam. Once again, I wish it had a stronger sound effect at the very end, but I still think it's a fun one that flows all together well. Sadly, this will be the last time we'll be seeing Hugo for some time. I'll miss you and I hope I'll see you playable in Street Fighter 6. Breaking into the top 50 with the character totally not inspired by Bruce Lee, Fei Long. This one is just a really nice love letter to classic Bruce Lee movies, performing a quick flurry of punches, uppercutting, and then ending with a fiery flying dragon kick to cap it all off. After seeing all of this, I can now see why one of my followers, Joshua, really wants to see Fei Long come back in Street Fighter 6, and I do too. Fei just kicks in with a great Ultra. Next, we've got a fan favorite from Third Strike, Makoto with Abara Tosanami. Grabbing the corner of the screen to dive at the opponent with a few kicks and then strike them upward looks extremely painful, and it is paced and shot super well. Also, I know I said I wouldn't be factoring these in at all, but a little bonus that you're able to follow this Ultra combo up with another special, or if you want to extend your combo, it's possible. Overall, a great super that packs a punch, and kick, and dives in for whatever. It's just a good one. Let's see what El Fuerte has been cooking for his second Ultra, Flying Giga Buster, jumping onto their shoulders, sending them upwards, and then doing a luchador slam contorting their body before slamming them into the ground. This one just looks pretty painful, but it's quite a fun one to watch. And just like that, El Fuerte is out of the ranking. It was a good run, and maybe we'll see you in Street Fighter 6, only time will tell. Bringing us into the halfway point with Rolento, one of the final characters added into Street Fighter 4. This final fight boss opens with a nice flurry of hits with his rod to then throw a bunch of grenades to send them airborne. Looks like someone is a big fan of Hattori Hanzo from Samurai Showdown. Like a rod and grenade combo, this one just kicks ass and it's a blast. Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to the first half of all Ultra Combos ranked for Street Fighter 4. There's a lot to cover, and we have 45 more to do, and on top of it, I have been extremely busy lately. So I originally planned on having the second half of this video come out Wednesday, but instead, because of my very busy schedule I have lately and how long it takes to put all these videos together, you can expect to see all Street Fighter 4 Ultra Combos ranked either this upcoming Friday, which is May 12th, or you can see it the following Monday coming out. So just wanted to give you that update, and we're stopping it right here. And again, thank you so much for tuning into this video. Let me know what you think of this ranking so far. Please leave a like and share it with your friends. Everything means so much. My name is Nick, and I will see you then.
Fight.